Hello, everyone, and welcome to the consensus call this Thursday evening. My name's Camilla May. I am a core leader with M3, and it's my privilege to be hosting this event within the next hour. I just want to hear from a few of you. Let's get things going. You may or may not know this, but our boys have just finished a road trip around Europe. So maybe you can put in the chat if you attended one of their events around Europe. It's really quite incredible, actually, in the fact that what company sends their top talent, their most experienced people that are really in the 1% of true understanding of the Web3 space. They send them on a roadshow around Europe for 2 months. So they've been to most countries in Europe. They were certainly here in the UK. I know they're in Norway, Russia, Austria, Germany. So a big round of applause to them. We certainly know they made an impact because they must have started that roadshow, which is actually their 3rd roadshow. They must have started that in June. And here we are, they've just finished in August. When they started, the community was probably about 250,000 strong. When they finished, the community was well over 400,000 strong. So I think we can deeply thank them. So Jensen, Ben, Calvin, and Nigel, you're our heroes. The roadshow was a huge success. Maybe what you can put into the chat is, what continent would you like to see their roadshow go to? I've got a funny feeling Africa might be one. They are a really big growing community. So if you want to see the boys come and do a roadshow on your continent, put your continent or your country in the chat. Brilliant. Well, listen, welcome everyone. We've got a really good hours training for you because I think it's a very popular subject and a subject that you're all desperate to get your heads around. And that is the subject of withdrawals. How do we take our profit from this fantastic platform, M3? We've got a great core leader who's going to talk you through that. But let me just give you a bit of background. You've got to ask yourself, why are we changing the withdrawal system? And there's a couple of reasons. The first reason is this is an ever-changing space, the Web3 space. It moves so fast. Maybe what would take a year to happen in Web2 takes about 10 days to happen in Web3. Sometimes we all find ourselves spinning around going, oh my God, something new to take on board. You know, it muddles the head. But that's never going to stop. It's a fast-paced business, this, so put your seatbelt on and enjoy the journey. The second thing is that in the ever-changing space that we're in, the most important thing we do is that we are compliant and we are legal. And because it's a new space, things change, but the most important thing for M3 to do is to be compliant and to be legal. So that's the main reason this new withdrawal system has been put in place. And our community is growing very fast. You know, we're moving into unknown territory, and we need to be seen by the regulatory bodies and the people that look upon us that we're doing everything correctly, everything legally, everything compliantly. So this new system's not there to complicate things and challenge you. It's there for very, very vital reasons. So embrace it, and you're going to get your heads around it. Maybe on first hearing, it might confuse you. I think most of you have heard it before. Jensen's trained on it. It's been on the last few consensus calls. So pin your ears back and get your pens out and listen to my great friend from the UK, Pinnacle. Pinnacle is also a core leader. the one thing I've learned and understood about Pinnaky over the last few months as I've got to know him is he's got a brilliant business brain, and he picks up things much quicker than anyone else, and he understands things much quicker than anyone else. So it really is, you're very lucky, and we're very privileged to have Pinnaky here as our core leader, and he's going to take you through not just the practicalities of the new withdrawal system, but really helping you to understand it. So I will come back at the end when Pinnaky's finished just to do a sum up. But for now, I'd like you to give a big round of applause to core leader Pinnaky. So over to you, Pin.
Thank you very much, Camilla. How do I even follow up on that? I suppose I've got the difficult task of wading through MCN and MM, and when we look at all these options, exactly what Camilla said, things change, and that's part of life. And it's, in a way, it's a good thing, because if things didn't change, we'd still be in the same boring places doing the same boring things. And just think, this journey that we're on, each one of us is suddenly becoming an expert in so many different arenas that we never even thought of. And that's, one of the interesting things to look at. So yes, I can talk you through how your MCN, how you do a swap, where you export, etc. But we need to also understand what all this process is, what the wording means. It's no good me saying, well, go to ZebSwap, do this, go to Unity Bridge, do this. Great, okay, we can teach people to do that, but you need to also understand the process and know what the reasoning is behind us doing it. So firstly, MM, you redeem, and don't forget, we're going to be using the new words now. The old words are over, the new words. Camilla can probably put me right if I put the wrong word in the wrong place. But you are now redeeming. So yes, the wording has changed internally, but that makes sense, because you're actually, when you receive your MM rewards, which are just reward points, and what you do with those reward points, you basically redeem them against MCN, which is called a Mars credit note. And the first thing you got to look at is, why is it called a Mars credit note? Think of this, when you go to a store and you buy something and you return it, sometimes they'll give you a credit note, and that means you can then use it wherever you like, whenever you like. And this is inside M3, we live in our own little bubble called M3. And now you're exporting your MCN, which is your Mars credit note, and you're moving it into a wallet and then into a liquidity pool. So that's external to M3, nothing to do with M3. So this is the parts that you need to understand. Is it's great knowing the words, but we also need to understand the other parts of it. Because I'm going to share screen. So as everyone does, what we do is we move over to our wallet. So basically, you've taken your MM, you've redeemed it against MCN, and now what you've done is it now sits in your wallet. Now, in your wallet, it's actually on MarsChain. It's not on Binance, it's not anywhere else, it's in MarsChain, because that's where we're all moving to. So now it's on MarsChain, you connect your ZebSwap, because guess what? The first thing you want to do is swap MCN into another token. So your first protocol is go here, and the first thing you're going to see is, oh, hang on a minute, where's MCN gone? And like I said, this is all new, we're all learning, and we're all sort of like still getting our head around everything. So the first thing you're going to do is go and get the MCN address, copy it, and paste it into here. And there you go, Mars MCN. And there's 150 MCN. showed up straight away. Now, the next thing is, don't forget, this is not called ZebSwap because it sounded like a great idea. It's actually a swap option. You're swapping. So now you want to swap it for USDT. Next dilemma is, where's the USDT gone? I can't find it. Well, go back to all the addresses that everybody has. You have your USDT address, which is the one on MarsChain. Don't forget, over time, this will automatically be there. Now you've got your MarsChain USDT. And there you go. You can see how much balance that is there. Now you've got a choice to make. What do you want to do? Well, let's take 50 MCN. And what the system is doing is it's fetching the best price, depending on whatever the market price is. And currently, the market price, you can see there, is 0.712. So it's using that calculator, and that will then convert and swap my MCN into USDT. But don't forget, at the moment, it is still on MarsChain. So now you've got it on MarsChain. The next thing you need to do is you want to basically put it on, say, your Binance section of your wallet or Ethereum. Let's use Binance as an example. So again, the wording of each thing makes complete sense. And think of it this way. Now what you've got is you now have your same wallet. So now your coins are actually on MarsChain on your MetaMask, for example. So now they're there, it's still living in Mars world. So think of this. Camilla lives on one side of a river. She lives in Binance world. I live in Mars world. Now, for me to get to the other side, I need to cross a bridge across the river. So what do? I cross the bridge, and this is basically why they use the word bridge. It's great knowing that it's a bridge, but you need to know the wording and why it's actually placed that way. So now I cross the bridge. So at the moment, here we go. We're going from, when this opens, there we go, from MarsChain. And we're going to bridge over to Binance Chain. And all this will do is take your USDT that you originally swapped in ZebSwap, and you've taken it onto the bridge, and you've bridged it over to the Binance Smart Chain. Then you decide how much you want to send, and you move the funds. And this is basically what will take, this will happen instantly, and then the withdrawal will take, not withdrawal, but basically your movement of your assets will move over in 12 hours. So understanding this process is key. Number one, you've got your which you are redeeming against the Mars credit note. The Mars credit note then moves out of M3 completely and goes into your wallet. You're then going to swap it from MCN into USDT. And I'm sure eventually these options, if you look at this list here, this list is going to be huge. One day there will be VooPay, Rocket, literally all the different coins that we have will end up on lists like this because we want to utilize MarsChain more and more and more. And this is where ZebSwap wins also. Then you go over to the bridge, cross the bridge, move it onto Binance Chain. And in the future, you might find there's going to be various other chains that we will also collaborate with. And this is when you look at your MetaMask, it says, would you like to bridge? And you're probably wondering, what's a bridge? What do I do with that? Now you're learning how this part of the industry works. So it's important that you understand all of this process. And it tells you here, plain English, 15 minutes it takes. Security is guaranteed by MarsChain. And this also leads you into another part. Now you've done your transaction, and your first port of call is, hasn't come through. What do? Panic. Don't panic. Because don't forget, every single chain, like Binance Chain has its own explorer, MarsChain has its own explorer too. You can take your transaction ID or even your wallet address, put it into MarsChain Explorer, and go and find out where your transaction is. So when in the future, if you're moving Rocket or Voo or Titan or whatever, you can track it on MarsChain once we move everything over. And this will be your ledger. This will be the place you will go for everything. Because, you know, you don't need to run into the groups and go, oh my God, I did a transaction, nothing happened, where's it gone? You can do your own work initially and go, okay, now I know where this has gone. This is important for everybody to learn. And don't forget, this is not just some new process that M3 have come up with. The world is talking about real world assets being on the blockchain. And if that's the case, you're going to want to learn how to swap, how to bridge in multiple different chains across a whole group of different companies. So this is, you're being, in a way, trained in advance of what's coming to the whole world. So you'll just be one step ahead of everybody else. So there's interesting parts to this. If you actually look at MarsChain, and you know, this is where when you join something like M3, don't just do the basics. I bought an avatar. I got this much. I got this many MM. Doesn't it look beautiful? That's just one piece of a very tiny piece of a very big pie. If you go to MarsChain and then go to tokens, you can find out every single token that is on MarsChain. There you go. There's merchant credit note. There's Tether. There's USDC. So if we click on this one, merchant credit note, you can see there's been 4,763 transfers. There are 685 holders. If you put your wallet address in here, you can actually search your transactions. Your whole ledger is there. And this is all interesting information. But you know, another thing you look at when you first take a look at Mars Explorer is you can actually, whoops, 1 second, one step further. Look at this. 5.5 seconds is the block time. 81,650 daily transactions. And that's low, considering, don't forget, we've only just started. This will grow. Total transactions, 2.8 million. So your account that's sitting in M3 is also partially, you know, some of it is already on MarsChain. And this is why, look, you've got 437,000 addresses on there. This is all useful information. Now, the other thing is, you know, a lot of people have looked at MCN and gone, oh my God, look at the price. It's gone down. You know, this is not what it's supposed to be. Well, guess what? We live in the world of real. We don't live in the world of make-believe. In the world of real, things fluctuate. Prices go up and prices go down. We all know this by now. But think, this is just one option. MCN, lots of data here, telling you all sorts of information about how many buys there are, how many sells there are. There's a lot of people buying too. A lot of you are probably wondering, well, why are people buying MCN? It's actually quite a sensible question to ask. Think of this. You can buy MCN. And in the future, maybe if you could re-import it back into M3, you could then basically purchase MCN at, say, 71 cents and do a one-to-one against MM and purchase an avatar. You got a discount. This is thinking a different way of doing things. So your MCN will fluctuate, but there's a bigger explanation about the fluctuation of price. Take a look at this. This is all the tokens we have on MEX, which is Rocket, ZooM, Mars. Understandably, there are people receiving tokens in DeFi, and they are selling them. And they keep selling them, and it drives the price down. If you can accept the reduction of price because of selling on the tokens that you hold, then really the price of MCN dropping is not really a big deal. You should be expecting this by now. But here's the interesting thing. When you look at your account and you're thinking, wow, look how many MM I get every day. Is that exciting? Yes, in the beginning it is. Long term, it might not be, because MM is basically just MM. It can be redeemed against MCN. But these are your tokens. These are your assets. And, selling your assets at a low price, yeah, that's personal choice. Everybody makes a choice, and people are wondering, why is the price keep dropping? Well, obviously, because people are selling. Well, think of this. And this is where another piece of the story comes into play. Everybody has DeFi. And believe me, if you haven't looked at DeFi, you need to go back to school, because let's just take an example. Let's say you want to buy Rocket and you think, oh, you know what? It's really low. Let me go on the exchange and go and buy it. Yes, you can do. But guess what's better than that? Go into the mining pool and take up an option, whichever one, and say, I would like to receive Rocket in tokens. So what happens? You buy your 500 avatar. That gives you 2.5 times. You're never going to get 2.5 times by going and buying it on MEX exchange. So you can take advantage of the price decrease by buying into MCD avatars and deciding which tokens you want to accrue. So maybe a lot of you in the past few days have received a ridiculous amount of Rocket tokens, and you're thinking, where have these come from? Well, they've come from your DeFi. And don't forget, DeFi works completely differently to Marsverse. Marsverse does its thing, pays out tokens, etc., etc. It accrues MM. But what DeFi does is it gives you something even more unique. It gives you tokens. To me, they're my assets, regardless of what anybody thinks. But I also get MCD. I also get Ethereum. It's a total no-brainer. And, if you sort of go back and think, and this is an example for everyone, everybody's probably noticed this by now, but some of you don't know yet, is what it took me to achieve in MM per day. 14 months. I'm not going to give any numbers out. That number I've achieved in MCD DeFi in 5 weeks. Now tell me which one. I'm not saying Marsverse is any lower of a product, but you have to understand both of them work hand in hand. You can't get into DeFi if you don't have a Marsverse avatar. Believe me, I tried it. So, you realize that it's not just one thing, it's a multitude of different things. And this is why M3 is so unique. It gives you so many different options. You can, if you sort of dig deeper into MCN, profit from the fluctuation in the price of MCN. One thing you can guarantee is people will sell. That's just life. You can go and have a look at MarsChain, go on the Explorer, find out what else is going on, what tokens are being sold, what's the biggest wallet holders. This is all information you can gather. So just to sort of quickly recap M3 is where you are currently, where your business is situated. And now you're getting your avatars, you've got a nice team building, and now you're receiving MM. You're now going to move those MM and you're going to redeem them for MCN, and you're going to move them externally into your external wallet. From there, they go to ZebSwap, and you're going to swap them for USDT, which is still on the MarsChain. That hasn't changed. The only time you move it over to another chain is when you use the bridge. Don't forget, once you cross over the bridge, go and say hello to Camilla, who's sitting on the other side, waiting for you in Binance World. And that's the simplicity of it. We don't need to overcomplicate it. We don't need to overthink it. We just need to understand this is the process that is in play. And in the future, when you buy real world assets, regardless of what chain it is, you'll do exactly the same thing. You will still be bridging from one chain to another because there are thousands of different chains out there. And that's what's unique about all of this. So start to learn how everything works, start to learn what everything does. And don't forget, when you enter DeFi, you get an extra UME, which is now going to turn into MFCD. And guess what? You've seen what happens to MCD, so you can hazard a guess at what the future is for MFCD. And don't forget, here's the big thing. A lot of these things still haven't been shown to the rest of the world. They're still sort of hidden. Vu, Rocket, Mars, Titan. It's only the community that knows they even exist. Now is the time when you should be gathering as many assets as you can get your hands on, and then thinking, wow. So, and how do you do that? You go into DeFi and you let DeFi do all the work. Why bother going on an exchange and sitting and waiting for transactions to go through? Tap into DeFi and see where this market leads. And here's a final thought. Has everybody noticed for how many months have we been staking Rocket? A lot of months. And how many Rocket do you reckon is even staked? A hell of a lot. So here's the question. Do you think they have no plan whatsoever for Rocket? They definitely have a plan. And forever who's selling Rocket today, all I can say is, thank you very much. It's amazing. I am ending up a horrendous amount of Rocket. So, and don't forget, this is nothing to do with M3 or the team. It's not in their hands to, do anything with Rocket. It's us. We are the ones who are selling, and we are also the ones who can accrue as many as possible. And believe me, wealth is something you see further down the road. It's not going to stare you in the face today. It's going to look like nothing. That's the way wealth is built. It starts off looking really bad. But over long term, when you see what its potential is, one day you'll go, oh, wow, is this what happened? I should have kept more of my Rocket when I had the chance. And all the other tokens. So think of this, MM is not an asset. It is not wealth creation. Your tokens are. I'm going to hand over to Camilla now.
Yay, well done, Pinicky. You are brilliant. I love the way your brain works. And it's okay if you don't understand the full picture that Pinicky's explaining to you all. The most important thing is you understand that there is a full picture. And over the next few days and weeks and months, you'll get your head around it and you'll understand it. So just talking about MMs, I just wanted to remind you that there are other things you can do with your MMs. The first is you can transfer your MMs to maybe a new member and help them purchase and get going in the business. The second thing is you can mint more avatars for yourself. The more avatars you have, the more rewards you have. Excellent. The third thing you can do is you can mint some MCDs, avatars, and get yourself into DeFi. That has to be a strong possibility for all of you. You can also use your MMs to maybe get into exclusive partnership deals. Fantastic. The last thing I ever do with my MMs is redeem them. Because right now is the time to reinvest your winnings, if you like, your rewards, and build your asset portfolio. Pinnaky's absolutely right. The people that will walk away, or the people that will fill their pockets and create real wealth for themselves, not over the next 3 or 5 or 6 years, literally over the next 3 or 5, 6 months. Remember what I said at the beginning, Web3 moves fast. Yes, annoyingly, it moves fast. We have to get our heads around things, but fantastic. It moves fast so we can create wealth for ourselves over a relatively short period of time. So yes, redeeming your MMs is very important, but please remember there are other things you can do with your MMs that are far more beneficial. So I'm just going to spend the last few minutes finalizing what Pinnaky said, just so you have it in the forefronts of your mind. So when you go into your back office or your DApp, you're going to see your MM sitting there. The button you're going to press is redeem. You're going to redeem your MMs, and then a box will come up and say, what do you want to redeem your MMs for? And you're going to choose MCN and press confirm. And then you'll suddenly see like for life. So if you redeemed $50, you're going to have 50 MCNs in your assets, in your back office, in your DApp. You're then going to go to ZebSwap, ZebSwap.io. You're going to connect your wallet and you are going to swap. Exactly what Pin says. You're going to swap your MCNs for USDT on the MarsChain. So fantastic. We've now got USDT. It's on the MarsChain, but we want it on the Binance Smart Chain. So we're going to walk over that bridge and we're going to change our USDT MarsChain to USDT Binance. And there it will be sitting in your MetaMask or Token Pocket or whatever wallet you choose for you to do what you would like to do with it. So I hope that simple process is beginning to give you understanding of the route from redeeming your MMs to receiving your USDT. So that's our sharing this evening from the UK. Whoop. Thank you very much, Pinnaky. Thank you all very much for your attendance. M3 is such a great community. We're educating ourselves, we're learning together, we're growing together, and boy, are we growing. So the next community call, consensus call, will be on Sunday at 6 p.m. Central European Summertime. Really look forward to seeing you all there. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thank you all very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye, everyone.